Hey rice fans, welcome to another episode of Rice and Advice. I'm Dr. Jarrod Hardke with the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture. Let's get started. So today I'm standing in the first planting date study at the Stuttgart Rice Research and Extension Center, and we have just gone to flood, started putting the water on today. The goal of this study is obviously to help to tell us how different cultivars and especially new releases perform across a wide range of planting dates. This one went in the ground March 21st. We're just putting the water on now. Rice is at the 4 to 5 leaf stage. We've accumulated getting very close to 600 DD50 units. Could stand for the rice to be a little bit taller, but let's take a little bit closer look and a little bit discussion of why we're going now. Here we're having a look at a plot of Titan, recent medium grain released by the U of A. You can see that some of it's a little larger, some of it a little smaller. Not too uncommon for a very early planting date to have a little bit of lack of uniform emergence. But the majority of this rice did come up pretty much the same time. It's well into the 4 leaf plus stage, though some of it's now hidden by that floodwater. We do want to keep moving because, again, of that DD50 unit accumulation. Very important to keep an eye on, and that's really going to be our opportunity to make sure we fertilize and flood within the window needed to maximize yield. Once we get outside that certain number of DD50 units, which is specific to each cultivar and that cultivar's emergence date and the weather that we've had since then, once we get out of it, we do begin a yield decline the longer we delay. So we definitely want to go ahead and get this one fertilized and flooded so that things that are particularly early, such as Titan or CL153, aren't penalized just because we didn't get the fertilizer and the flood on them in an adequate time. We're standing in the second DD50 planting date, went in the first week of April. You can tell that it's very close behind the first planting date that went in a couple of weeks before it did. Going to catch up very quickly. It's probably going to reach the end of the DD50 window for the early cultivars before next week is out. So we'll be looking to hopefully catch a dry enough window to fertilize and flood this at that time. Who knows? We'll see how the weather plays out on that one. And we can continue to progressively move along and see subsequent planting dates. We have been fortunate enough to get these in pretty rapidly in terms of being on time. So you're looking at a mid-April planting date, a couple leaves on the majority of these cultivars. In some of the stand densities, difference between varieties and hybrids. So some are going to be a little thinner, some a little thicker, but all planted according to recommendation. And then you get in the very last day of April. Technically would have been the 1st of May is our preference, but guess what? It was going to rain the next day. So we went ahead. This has received a cleanup herbicide application on top of it, so most of that is being taken care of. And then finally we have planted just this morning the next planting date. Still a lot of rice going in this week at this time, as we're still not that far along in planting progress, and we do have one more bay available right next to it, so that we will have one planting date that goes just into June, where we will still likely see some rice going in then, where we do still have a chance to make some pretty good yields with the appropriate cultivar selection. Rice and Advice is going to be a little bit short this week. Our main focus is on this earliest rice that we can get fertilizer and flood on. We need to make that move, so if you have rice ready now, very short window until the next rain, but we should be trying to push that forward, take advantage of the rainfall to help us get flooded. And then any rice that's in that next window, you saw some of the early April, perhaps even into the mid-April, could come along very quickly with the approaching temperatures that we have and will continue to have. Need to be ready to get that fertilizer out when we get a dry soil opportunity. And probably with the subsequent Rice and Advice, we'll talk a little bit about what to do if it continues to stay wet, as it has been for, it seems like, the last 9 months now. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rice and Advice. Hope to see you next time, and good luck this year.